often want, you are California educated and you are right at the front and center of this China-US economic and technological debates. A lot of the world are saying today, well, data belongs to me. It either belongs to China or belongs to the US, it belongs to a country. But from your experience, you say data can be shared and can still be shared for the benefit of global good. So tell us about that.
Yeah, of course. So we acquire satellite data globally and of course legally. We pay a lot of money to our suppliers like Planet in the US and Digital Globe in the US. And ISI in Finland, and some other companies in China, and also institutions globally. So, from my point of view, of course, the data can be shared. At least, we're not using military level satellite resources, so. We use that data to serve agriculture, to serve forestry, to serve environmental protections, and we are getting a lot of customers, and we are being supported by many institutions. I don't see any problem in that, but regarding concerns, of course, I don't want any. Or we don't want any problems between the China-US relationship. That's one of the most important relationships in the world. And the open economy and open business I think that's crucial to people in both countries.
Of course, you called for open economy. We're all wishing for an open economy. But what if one day the U.S. says, okay, we're not going to share the US-based satellites data to you anymore? That'll be devastating for the operations of your business. Do you have a contingency plan for it?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't call it devastating because the US is not the only country that we source our data from. ESA also provides a lot of data, European Space Agency, and also JAXA, that's a Japanese space agency. Apart from that, there's also Chinese Space Agency. I think China launched a whole bunch of satellites last year and this year as well. So in terms of data, if there's anything going wrong between the China-US relationship, then we also have many sources that we can buy from.
So how worried are you, Alpha, that your data gets stolen, be it from the military, from governments, or from hackers? And what do you do to protect the data of your clients?
First, we don't store, or actually we don't use any client's data. We serve data to them. For example, in the corp map case, I have no idea whether our client is using our data for what purposes. We don't have any information of the clients of our clients. But on the contrary, we serve our data to them. We serve code maps that's derived from our technology. We serve, for example, pollution monitor services to them. And during the process, we don't need any input from our client. So we don't have that kind of problem of using client's data or being worried that it's being stolen. Yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Absolutely. And what about, satellite imagery, satellite data? Of course, militaries around the world are really interested in that, but probably they have much more sophisticated software and tools as well. So how do you work or compete with them?
Well, we don't. So for military purposes, it's of course I think there's a strict rule in China, and it's a legalized rule that's saying I can't use a certain spatial resolution beyond I think that's 0.5 meters above. So data, we don't have access to those military grade data. So we don't compete because we can't. For civilized purposes, then it's pretty open. We can use any data we want, but above below a certain line. And we currently don't face any competitions from military applications because the military institutions they have their dedicated services.
Alpha, you earlier talked about how you use your company's services to essentially providing the best kinds of financial services mechanisms to the people that are most in need, the China's farmers. How do you do that? I find that fascinating.
Oh, well, thank you. We essentially we want to benefit the farmers and the companies around across the industry, and also we are also interested in of course in forestry, in environmental protections. Well, I think we have an application that monitors the icebergs. To classify the icebergs and calculate how much it decayed throughout the decade. Well, yeah, that's not a product because no one is willing to pay for that. But for forestry, for environmental protections, for agriculture, we have a product line that helps either farmers or the financial institutions and companies around that. Or there's also a very interesting application that's the monitor the forest change. Forest, the forest, they will be harvested illegally, or sometimes it will be grown. People are paying a lot of money to grow trees in the desert areas in China, and they want to see how their progress is. So we have an application for that. That is to tell people where it has a forest it has some trees being cut, or where has some trees that are being grown. So that's a pretty interesting application. Yeah. And apart from those applications, we also have some industry level applications, such as monitor the power grids, monitor the forest fire. We published some data regarding California wildfire recently for free. And
what do you provide with California government?
No, because our business is currently focused in China.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Do you see that continue in the future, that your business focus is in China, especially on agricultural innovation with what you have talked about, and food security, food safety, and so on? Is this your core business area?
Yes. Yes. Well, agriculture is one of the three core business areas. Apart from agriculture, we have forestry is one of our very important sector, and environmental protection. That's also the third important sector.
Just out of curiosity, Alpha, in terms of pollution, right, and smog levels, of course you are monitoring data. I've lived in China for 5 years, from 2012 to 2017, seeing, the peak of the smog levels, and then coming down because of the government policies and new restrictions and so on. What do the latest data show in terms of pollution and PM 2.5?
Well, I'm in Beijing. I don't see any smog in like 2 years, maybe 1 or 2 days in 2 years. So I think Beijing is currently, we see blue skies every day. But apart from that, we monitor primarily on water pollutions instead of air pollutions. There are about 2,300 lakes in China that needs to be monitored, and governments or institutions are paying a lot of money to monitor the pollution because they really want to cure the pollution problem.
And what do the indicators there show? Do you see an improvement in water quality?
Over the years, yes, especially in the Thai Lake. Do you know that lake? That's
Taihu.
yeah. Yes. So I think in 2010, they have a very serious algae bloom in Thai Lake, and right now, 10 years after that, we don't see any problem in that. But still, the pollution needs to be monitored, because if there's something going wrong, then they will remove the pollution or do whatever they can to restore the environment. So there's still a chance for business to monitor the pollutions.
Also, microfinance, that's essentially what Alibaba and Tencent have been trying to do as well, to provide, yes, which is really a global problem to tackle, is to provide financing to the unbankable globally. How is your solution different from what, say, WeBank or MyBank offers?
Yeah, so I think that's a very good question. First, we are not a bank. We don't provide loans directly to any farmer. And the thing we do is to support the banks, support maybe Alibaba, support Tencent, to better provide their service to their end customers, to like the farmers. Because without our data, they may not know as much as they can right now. For example, if I am a farmer, I'm growing maybe 10 acres of orange, then the financial institution may not know that, or it will cost them a lot to verify that. But right now, we provide a satellite-based solution to the banks so that they can get that knowledge very cheap, and they can provide their service. They can give a much higher credit line to any farmers. Yeah, that's pretty much how we did that.
And also talking about satellites, and you just talked about, China launched a whole bunch of satellites, actually 35, to form this Beidou navigation system. How does China's satellite precision and technology today in comparing to, say, the European counterparts and the US counterparts?
Well, to be honest, China started late, but grows fast. So there's still a distance, there's still technology distance, there's still some gap between the satellite industry in China and say in the US or in Japan. But I think it's growing fast. I think maybe one day they will be equals. That day may come soon, maybe 5 years or 10 years, I don't know.
Data is the new gold, and it's going to be much more important. There's going to be such a race, especially for satellite data, out of space data, and so on. Where do you see this whole competition and race going?
Sorry, do I see competition going? Yeah, of course. Yes. We have a lot of competitors, both in China and in the US and also in Europe. But I don't see them as competitors, but I usually see them as cooperators, because we learn from each other, because it's a big market and everyone has their unique thing, unique solutions. And we are willing to share our solution, and of course, we're willing to learn solutions from other companies. We just had a very small conversation with a British counterpart, with a British competitor. They are doing forestry, and they can recognize which kind of tree is any individual tree. So I think that's a very, very cool stuff. And we're talking about selling their product in China, and we're trying to see if they can sell our product in Britain. So I think cooperation is what we see more than direct competition, because I think it's a very big market.
So Alpha, in this whole space race, obviously we're seeing that it's at the top of China's national strategy, and all over the world, people are talking about space explorations, and that's obviously, we're moving to that phase of global development. There is no global order to govern this whole industry, right?
I think there is, but I don't know any details because the regulation is more focused on satellite hardware instead of data usage. So if we want to launch a satellite or we want to launch a rocket, then I think there is global regulation or global order on that, especially on the communication frequencies. But regarding to data application, I don't see any.
Mm. So now, Alpha, you studied in one of the best universities globally, period.
Thank you.
And you studied algorithm and electrical engineering. Back in 2017, when you were about to graduate, did you ever think that today AI has grown so fast and it's become so much in the global center of technological frontier?
Yes, because one of I studied quantum computing, and one of the major application area for quantum computing is the machine learning. I think I am always very optimistic about technology, about any frontier technologies. I was always optimistic. So usually I feel say disappointed about how some of the technologies are developing instead of I didn't see it coming. Maybe it comes too late. It's more accurate to describe my feelings. For example, the autonomous driving. We thought that it would get mature by 2020, but as of now, we still have to drive our cars manually. So yeah, so I think optimism is my thing. I'm always very optimistic about technology and the speed it develops. Yes.
And then also using technology for the better good and for humanity, because in your work area, you're using technology to improve agriculture, help, against deforestation and fight pollution. So this is so important, and I guess at the heart of your mission and your work as well. Which are some of the good technologies, do you think, in the future that you would like to use?
As a consumer, of course, I'm very looking forward to autonomous driving because it would save a lot of labor and save a lot of life due to reckless driving. And personally, I sometimes drink, so it's illegal. It's strictly forbidden to drive after you drink in China. So I think that would be very helpful technology. But we're not in the field. I'm not an expert in autonomous driving. I don't know when it would get mature, but I'm very looking forward to it.
You'll have to wait a bit more to drink more.
That's right.
Yes.
So Alpha, you're just saying that you have been spot on in timing this whole global AI cycle. That's incredible. And just follow your judgment. So where is it going in 5 years' time?
Where is AI going?
Yes.
Yes, I think apart from data analysis, apart from playing Go or that kind of applications, I think the biggest application is what I just mentioned: the autonomous driving. That's the single biggest application scenario that has a very large market and solves real problems. Training a network to playing Go is, of course, not as much useful as training a car to drive. So autonomous driving is the future. And apart from autonomous driving, maybe we could start autonomous something. For example, autonomous UAVs or drones.
Autonomous flying, exactly.
Yeah,
That would be
yeah,
so
yeah,
useful for agriculture and innovation as well, for all the massive fields and the vast landscape we have in China.
If everything is autonomous, Alpha, what do we humans do still?
Drink.
We lay back and drink.
Looks like we're going to be all out of our jobs very soon. So, Alpha, for today, US, we know that visa applications have been severely restricted, particularly in STEM majors, which can be potentially disappointing to a lot of aspiring students who want to follow your path from China. What do you say to them?
Well, we do have 2 interns right now in our company, and due to the pandemic issue, they can't go to the States, and now they are taking online lessons at night, and they are working as interns during the day. I don't know any. Actually, I don't know any individual or any friend who is being rejected by visa due to the STEM issue. I heard some cases, but I don't know if it's a common case because we see most people got a visa and can't go to the States due to pandemic issue instead of political issues. So I don't know if that's a common case, but if it is, then I don't know what to say. I think that's I hope
Students go to the US and to get the best education in AI. Possibly it's so far better than what we can find.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Going into the future, Alpha, are you worried about your staff and your company when it comes to the US-China trade relations?
Yes, I am. I mean, we don't export. We actually buy a lot of data from US companies, and we don't export because we don't have any customers outside China. So right now, I'm not too worried about that, about our company. But regarding economy, of course, if the economy goes down, then of course our company can't survive. So of course, I'm very concerned about the US-China relationship. I studied there. I spent 6 years there. I love China. I love the States. I don't want to see those 2 countries to go down a path that we don't want to see. So yeah, I'm concerned every day. Actually, I read CNN every day and to see if things are getting any better.
Back to your trade, you studied the quantum computing. Demystify it a little bit. It sounds so distant to me. What is quantum computing? Where do we use it globally? What do we use quantum computing for?
I think that's a question I've been thinking throughout my PhD study. So I think it's still quantum computing is still a hot research area, but there's still a very long distance to commercial applications. So maybe that's why I didn't continue on that path.
But just for a layman like me, what is quantum computing, please? I'm seeing an expert today, so tell the world.
Yeah, so it's briefly speaking, it's about using a new physical mechanism to design a computing core like the CPU you are using on a computer. Then it's just a different kind of CPU that theoretically can run exponentially faster than current CPUs. So you can compute a lot of things that you are not able to compute when using CPUs. For example, you can play a lot of much fancier games on that. Maybe, and maybe you can calculate. You can get the make the drug design process much faster by simulating the chemical processes that in a new drug. But that's just theoretically, and practically, there's still a very long distance to that.
I think it was a wise decision that you jumped, from quantum physics into the world of business.
Yes. I think during looking back to the 4 years or 3 years, I think I think I changed a lot. I don't know. I'm not an expert in technology anymore. But I feel very comfortable talking to our customers. So I think I changed me.
In China's whole AI field, which company do you respect the most?
In China, I think Alibaba, maybe. And also there's a company, the startup called SenseTime. I think these two companies, I respect very much because they always publish a lot of papers globally. When I go to the academic conferences, I always see them. I always see their papers. I think they are willing to share, and we learn a lot from them. So, so those two companies.
Well, best of luck with your journey.
We wish you all the best, Alpha. You're also Forbes 30 under 30, so you have such a bright future ahead of yourself and for your company as well. So we definitely wish you and your employees, your colleagues, all the best, and keep doing your great and very important work for the future of, China and the next generation.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your kind words.